Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Xanassin Trophy for Race 6 from the Kyoto Yamagiwa circuit. It's a tricky one, it's a high speed one. Let's take a look at how the championship standings is looking before this race. Demon R leading the way on 82 points, SGP in second place on 69. Steve F1 and Mandalorian joint third on 63 and they're closely followed by Tyler. Dave the Harp is in 6th with Jason 7th, Mitch 8th, Fluffy Planet 9th and Twilight rounds out the top 10. We've then got Bunsel followed by Rich Blues, Formula Gary, SRI, Jimmy, Groover and Conrad. Okay, let's take a look at how the qualifying result turned out for race 6 from Yamagiwa, and once again Mitch takes another pole position with a 1:23.010. Steve F1 in second place. He thought he had the pole done until Mitch came along and stole it right at the last moment. SGP lines up alongside Mandalorian with Fluffy Planet next to Tyler. On row 4 we've got Demon R alongside Twilight and they're closely followed by Formula Gary and Conrad Racing. And Dave the Harp starts alongside Groover and that's in 11th and 12th, and then on row 7 we've got Bunsel next to DGT League SRI. Jimmy and Rich Blues make up the last row. We could be in for a cracker here guys, so without any further interruptions let's hand over to the commentary team. Cheers Dave, and joining me on commentary today is James. James, you ready for the Japanese sunshine?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to need to Google translate what you just said there, James, but wait, I need to interrupt this for an important announcement. Keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. Ring this bell 3 times well. It's told to clearly say, my treatment's done. This course is run. And I am on my way. Yes, I am on my way. It's time for the drivers to get going around Yamagiwa as the lights are about to go out, and away they go, and it looks like a decent start from Mitch. It is a good start from Mitch.
Yeah, the top 6 getting off to a really good start. SGP covering off Mandalorian straight away into turn 1, but it's been nudged there, and that could allow Fluffy to have a little go at Mandalorian. But yeah, SGP third place, and yeah, he's really looking like he needs to bounce back after last week and try and win this one.
Yeah, definitely. Tyler has just slotted his way through past Fluffy as Demon R having a look at Fluffy as well. Fluffy showing some decent pace around this track in practice as Mandalorian's closed in on SGP, who's closed in on Steve F1. Mandalorian, is he going to have a look at making the move into the tricky little chicane down at the bottom of the hill? Oh, Tyler on the curb, is he out of shape? No. I do think we're going to see a few cars spinning around in that chicane and the next chicane today, James.
Oh, Tyler's got a really good run up the hill. He's putting Mandalorian under pressure. He's actually making the move. Can he try it round the outside?
He's
that
trying.
Would be a lovely move if he could get that done.
Yeah, Conrad slotting past Twilight as well, but Twilight fighting back. Fluffy getting a little bit out of shape on the way down the hill into the trickier chicane, and Demon R making his way through. Oh, we will see cars in the barrier there as well, I reckon, as the field make their way through towards the final corner to finish lap 1 of what will be a 40-minute race.
Demon R's just nudged Mandalorian, who almost binned it there on lap 1, but it looks like Mandalorian's heading into the pit limit.
Yeah, that's a very early pit stop. Obviously, you can't pit any earlier than he just has done. That's got to be strategic. Tyler's lost out to Demon R now, so Demon R up to 4th place, and SGP got a bit of a gap to Demon R. Fluffy's going a little bit wide.
Yeah, you don't want to be on
the
exit.
Conrod's in the barrier.
Yeah, I was about to say, you do not want to be on the exit curve, as Conrod's just found out.
Oh, yep, definitely Tyler. They're putting a bit of pressure now on the back of Demon R as they make their way towards one of the long left-handers. Is he going to try around the outside? He's going to try. Is it going to work?
Well, Tyler, as I say, is really, really impressing me. Absolutely on a mission. And last week he were making some demon overtakes. Can he make a demon overtake on Demon R?
I hope not. We'll see though. He's definitely showing some decent pace, but here comes Fluffy as well, and if Fluffy is there, then Dave Harp surely can't be too far away. Demon R's going defensive, and no surprise to make sure that Tyler can't go and just chuck it up the inside. Obviously we are on the Yamagiwa version layout of this track as they make their way down the hill. I've got to admit, I do love this chicane. Awkward, tricky corners here, James.
Yeah, definitely. Them curbs are so high though that if you abuse them too much, they'll just spit you off onto the grass on the exit. So yeah, Fluffy really impressive once again in P6, really close to Tyler, and it looks like nobody else is going for that early strategic move. They're all carrying on.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Mandalorian all over the back of Rich Blues now. And yeah, so having made his pit stop, Conrad having had a bit of an accident, formerly Gary back there as well. Just to mention Mitch, he's got a nice lead up at the front as Mandalorian goes round the outside of Rich, who unfortunately Rich thought that we were racing at Fuji today. No, it's the other Japanese track. So
yeah, good job he got here in time. He had to drive from the other side of the island.
Oh, it could have been worse. Just imagine if it had been on the wrong side of Australia.
Oh, yeah.
G'day, mate. Anywhere. No, not a g'day. I'm in the wrong bloody place.
Yeah, Fluffy, really, can he start making some moves here as Tyler runs slightly wide in the chicane?
Yeah, that he does, and yeah, Fluffy is all over the back of Tyler. Is he going to go for the inside into the hairpin? It's a tricky, tight corner. If you go in too quick, you can run straight on, but Fluffy is getting the move done nicely done.
It's a done deal there for Fluffy, so next target for him is Demon R, but Tyler running two wheels onto the grass, and that's not what you need as you run through the chicane. Fluffy running wide there as well, so yeah, they're falling back from Demon R when they really need to be trying to latch onto him.
Yeah, you know what, I think Tyler did the right thing then. As soon as he dipped a wheel on the grass, he instantly saved the car as Fluffy is heading into the pits even, to make a pit stop, right, as we have a look at Bunsell being hunted by Conrad. Bunsell on the back of Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian up to P8 now. He's made his way through some of the back markers, and he's got a fair amount of fuel on, but he didn't change his tyres, so he's got the same grip as the guys up at the front.
Look at the gap here that Mitch is making on Steve F1. This is brilliant from Mitch. We've seen him lead races in the past. Consistency has been his downfall. Also, just to let you know, in the spy cam, whether you love it or hate it, Marmite or not, Mitch is the victim of the spy cam today.
Gary getting quite punchy there, running through the very... Jimmy, you don't want to be out there. But yeah, a little bit of contact here and there, but they're all surviving so far. Bunsel's trying to fit in a gap that does not exist, and yeah, Conrad shoves his way through. Bunsell ran off onto the grass and then came back on, and it hit Jimmy in the background, so is Bunsell going to be having to wait for Jimmy now? I
think he is doing. Well, to be fair, Bunsell was backing out to the 3 wide and unfortunately ended up going off anyway. Let's see, is any of the top 3 or 4 going to be heading into the pits to react to? Oh, that's all right, taking quite a bit of curve there, you've got to be careful. Oh, so's Bunsell. Oh, Conrad.
Yeah, it is the chicane of if you don't treat it nicely, it'll treat you very badly. Oh, Demon R in the pit lane, so I don't think the front 3 have pitted yet.
Twilight and Mandalorian in the pits.
Right, Mandalorian, the strategy he could be going for is just topping up the fuel tank and just changing tyres, maybe using the boost to his advantage.
Yeah, I will admit though, I mean 6 minutes in, it's still an early pit stop. The fuel, half a tank will last about 9 minutes at the start of the race. So Mitch, Steve F1 and SGP and Tyler have continued on. Always Jimmy and Dave Harp side by side, and no surprise, there's Dave Harp and there's Fluffy.
Yeah, and Fluffy is on brand new tyres, so I think he'll be making short work of Dave the App when he gets up behind him. Yeah, Dave the App running wide there. and that will make him slower on the run down the hill, and Fluffy's taking no prisoners there.
Yeah, he's making the move as quick as he possibly can. So Fluffy moves through. That's into 7th place, and he's gained quite a bit after pitting earlier on. SGP are right behind Steve F1. I wouldn't be surprised if either of Steve F1 or SGP are just saving a bit of fuel behind Mitch, because they've closed the gap up a little bit now. But the question is going to be, when are either of these going to be heading into the pits?
I think both of them will be heading into the pit lane at the end of this lap, but I may be wrong.
Oh, Steve F1 is in, but SGP is not.
Right, okay, so Mitch carries on. That gap's just grown a bit bigger for Mitch from SGP. So, yeah, Mitch, can he convert it today? Because previously he started at the front and slipped back as Mandalorian just made a move on Jimmy in the background. Demon R, I think he's attacking Gary.
Yeah, he's all over the back of Gary. So, interesting. Mandalorian's made two pit stops. Demon R's made one, and Mandalorian's ahead. But who's that? Formerly Gary and Jimmy in a bit of a battle behind Mandalorian here, as Fluffy pulling away from Dave.
I think the main reason, though, that Mandalorian's in front of Demon R is just because of using the boost with advantage. Using the time that you'll save on catching the pack back up will negate your fuel loss. So, yeah. Demon R now on Gary. Can he make a move as Gary runs slightly wide, which could compromise the exit?
Well, I think he may have just about got away with it. Carried enough speed that I think, yeah, he's pulled away from Demon R through that corner, or on the exit of the corner. Maybe Demon R's going, oh, he's closed it up in the middle of the corner. Ooh.
Yeah, Demon R's taking a lot of curve there, almost got sideways, and it just takes a slight dab too much of the throttle, and you'll be spinning like a top as further up ahead. I think Dave Hart coming under a bit of pressure there. Demon R's run a bit wide. Yeah,
too many D's. Mitch, race leader, into the pits, and SGP carries on. Interesting.
Right. So he's clearly been doing a little bit of fuel saving, or could, on a full fuel burn, you get this far?
You could just about, but I mean, being where he was, he could have been lifting and coasting as Bunsell, Mitch. Mitch was in there anyway. David Harp into the pits. The question is, where do they come out?
Oh, Mitch.
That's nasty. He's behind Tyler.
Yeah, he's lost out big time there from the lead of the race, staying out a bit too long, and now he's behind people who've got heavy fuel and brand new tyres. So it's going to be, it's going to be a struggle now for Mitch.
Yeah, Demon R all over the back of Gary once again as he tries to get up alongside. This corner is where Gary was a little bit quicker last time around, but in the next chicane is where Demon R was a lot faster than Gary. So Demon R needs to try and get the move done in either of these corners, but Gary stayed ahead, and that's going to make it difficult if he defends well, which he is. Yeah, and there's the slight difference in speed, and now here comes Twilight because Demon R's being compromised.
Yeah, indeed. So he's been compromised, but Gary's just quick enough at all the right spots. So, yeah, and now he's going defensive. So this is good defensive driving, but he's left the door wide open for Demon R to jink up the inside, but he's carrying the speed round the outside, which will now give him the inside for the chicane.
Yeah, so Gary stays ahead. Gary's doing well here. All side by side they go. We're measuring this is a difficult area. Oh, Demon R's off. Gary's off. They've not touched each other, but they've both gone a bloody bend as SGP is in the pits.
Yeah, I think that was just ambition ahead of adhesion.
Yeah.
As who is it? Brundle would say. But yeah, that's just opened it up for the top few to run away here, and the rest of the pack was a bit of a gap because, I think Twilight, he's in 4th place right now, but has Twilight pitted yet?
Yes, I think Twilight pitted at the same point as Demon R. Obviously this week he's not copying what SGP is doing regarding pit stops, but SGP is just ahead of Twilight, right? But Demon R and Gary were ahead of Twilight, so SGP would have come out right in that battle, but because they both binned it, SGP's kind of got away with one. Or Jimmy's big wide.
Ooh, yeah, that is nasty, and it's all about making sure you get back on circuit as sensible as possible. The last thing you want to be doing is just running straight on, but unfortunately the racing line is where
Dave's losing it.
Oh, Davey losing the rear end there, getting a little bit of a tag as well, but yeah, he were slightly out of control there. So here we go. Yeah, it's one of them awkward
curb,
ones.
I think it was. Fluffy's.
Oh, Fluffy's slowing down, so maybe he feels that he were to blame for that.
No, somebody else is stationary. I think that's Groover on the track map. I think Fluffy's waiting for Groover because he's already let Dave the Arp through, and Fluffy is still waiting, so I think Fluffy is waiting for somebody else. Okay, Demon R then trying to attack SRI, or should I say SRI, trying to attack Rich Blues while some other pain in the backside gets involved.
Yeah, but he's carrying the speed around the outside, which might be nice, but now he's not going to get any slipstream, and SRI will.
Yeah, that is true. Bunsell into the pits. Oh, and Rich Blues slots in front of Demon R to give him the slipstream, and now Demon R goes up the inside.
Yeah, I think Rich Blues there might as well be AKA Demon R's teammate there with that little bit of coordinated driving going on.
Don't tell Steve F1 that, as Twilight now all over the gearbox of SGP, and there is Tyler and Mitch. So Tyler has jumped Mitch, and Mitch was the race winner, and some people may wonder how the bloody hell has he ended up going from the lead to pitting and ending up further back. Well, it's simply there is a bit of boost on, so yes, you can stay out longer, but you get undercut. So sometimes you have to go, you know what, I'll be the first to pit.
Yeah, and obviously you do.
Bunsell big sideways on the curb, and Connor off on the inside as well.
Yeah, Ray ran a bit wide there as well on the entry to the first chicane, turned in, and unfortunately Conrad were there on the racing line, so yeah, nowhere for SRI really to go there other than to slam on the brakes.
Yeah, absolutely right. I wasn't listening, but absolutely right. Formerly Gary. Oh, and Fluffy side by side. Fluffy on Rich. I think that may have been a little bit too aggressive. And here comes Connor as well. Gary and in SRI. Bloody hell, this is getting tricky.
Yeah, I think Conrad there were between a rock and a hard place. But yeah, Fluffy getting very aggressive. But at the same time, he didn't run too much speed in there and nudge Rich off. So in a way, I think Fluffy was right on the limit there of what's acceptable, but still he got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of contact, but he's not hit Rich off the track. Twilight was massively wide through turn one, and Tyler couldn't quite capitalise, but he's going to try chucking it up the inside now, and Twilight sees it coming and concedes the position.
Absolutely brilliant though there from Tyler. Really, I think you just put Twilight off enough for him to take his eye off the road for 1 second to glance in his mirrors, and that were at the point where you really need to concentrate. And
Tyler's on the charge.
Yeah, he is absolutely brilliant attacking SGP, but SGP's going to have the inside line, but Tyler's took it around the outside.
This is interesting. Tyler is absolutely flying at this.
Yeah, I think if he can keep this up for the race distance once again, he could be on for the win here.
Yeah, definitely. I tell you what, talking about flying, right? A duck walked into a shop and said, "You got any bread?" The shopkeeper said, "No." "Got any bread?" "No." "You got any bread?" "No." "You got any bread?" "No." "And if you ask me again, I'll nail your beak to the floor." "Got any nails?" "No." "Got any bread?"
SGP just heading round turn one there as Dave the Arp's head of the pack at the back, and sorry, I didn't quite hear what you were saying there because I wasn't really listening. But anyway, here's Conrad running round turn one, and that's it's risky out on the exit of turn one.
Yeah, it is. All Bunsell a little out of shape on the curb there, and SRI a little out of shape on the curb as well. And that's Bunsell, the feature of these cars.
Yeah, Bunsell getting side by side there with SRI, and I think they were not willing to be great dance partners there, as Gary's having a little look up the inside of Rich, a slight little nudge, but that can put you off massively, as Mitch has now caught the back of Twilight, and he's on the freshest tyres out of anybody right now because he was the one who pitted last.
Yeah, that he is. Steve F1 is leading the race, though. He's got a bit of a gap to Mandalorian as Mitch is really applying the pressure on the back of Twilight. I mean, annoyingly for Mitch, he's seen Tyler undercut him, then pass Twilight, then pass SGP rather rapidly, and he's not been able to follow suit. But that's the nature of this track. It's not the easiest of places to overtake as SRI and Gary get side by side. Oh, a little bit too much contact. That's a big crash.
I think people just started losing their heads there, and that's just resulted in absolute carnage. Luckily, a few of them have gone invisible, but I feel a bit sorry there for Rich because I don't think he did much wrong.
No, difficult to know exactly what happened there, but because I had my eyes closed. But it looks like SRI is waiting for Rich, and there's no one else he needs to wait for. I think he may be checking though.
I think the thing we need to be looking at here is the leader right now. Steve F1 has been able to hold a 3.2 gap constantly over Mandalorian in P2, but then I think there's about an 8-second gap back to Tyler in third place. But he's also running very similar lap times to several leaders. But there's a nice healthy gap there for Steve F1 to pit and still come out in P2. I think he could come out behind Mandalorian.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it depends on what kind of strategy he's going for today. I mean, to be honest, there's a number of different strategies you could try having around this particular track. As Fluffy trying to attack Dave the Harp.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Oh, Dave the Harp, they're making it as tight of a corner for Fluffy as possible, but Fluffy's made the way through. But can Dave the Harp fight back on the exit? It doesn't look like it, because now Fluffy's got the inside for the chicane.
Yeah, that he has. So Fluffy is ahead, and Groover now closing in on Dave the Harp as well. But Groover's got to be aware of Gary closing in on him. As I thought Dave was going a little bit deep into the final corner then, but not quite. Fluffy was a little bit wide on the exit, so was Groover. Gary's got to run Dave the Harp into the pits. Yeah,
I think Dave the Harp's definitely heading in for some new tyres, as he saw how easily Fluffy made his way through as Gary's out the inside of Groover. Oh, Groover turning in way too early there. And I think either he didn't realise that Gary were there, or he needs to get spec service.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of moves, that's for certain. That's going to allow Jimmy to close in as well, but Fluffy could still come under pressure from Formula Gary as he slots into his slipstream. Groover having a look at the inside, but you've got to be closer to really make that one work, because Gary will carry the speed all the way around. The outside, no, won't. He'll go
Gary's
off,
he's off. Oh, right in front of Groover. Luckily, when invisible there, that would have been absolute carnage. But yeah, I think Gary went defensive, really, or left space to Groover.
Twilight on, who's that? He's on Twilight, it's attacking SGP.
Right, okay, so Mitch right now needs to be thinking, as soon as Tyler makes his move, I need to be waiting in response to whatever kicks off here, because if these two tangle, that could be two positions easy picked off.
Definitely. Mandalorian into the pits once again. Still got quite a bit of fuel on board, so obviously not emptying his tank, because SGP jumps into the pits as well. SGP pitting before Steve F1 and before Mitch this time, when he pitted after both of them last time around, I think. Demon Art, where's he? Nowhere really. Coming out, just ahead of Mandalorian. And SGP.
Yeah, SGP's really closed that gap in, so all we can hear from the pit lane reporters is that Mandalorian did not take tyres, but he fully fueled up, so SGP's done something. I'm not too sure if he's just changed tyres or just filled up his fuel tank half the way. Yeah, so SGP may be rapid now.
Yeah, well, SGP did close the gap a lot there in the pit lane, to be honest. I'm wondering if he perhaps didn't take as much fuel, which gave him a much faster pit stop as well. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. SGP in 7th, but we've got Groover, Bunsell and Jimmy here at the moment. Who was that? That was Groover. That was Groover wide. I think he saved it though. Was Bunsell got a bit twitchy?
Yeah, because sometimes you run through there, you see somebody running through and twitching and running onto the grass, and it can easily put you off, and you can also find yourself having a little bit of a spin. As Steve F1 is heading into the pit lane now, so he's covering off Mandalorian. But is he going to do what SGP did and not put as much fuel in as Mandalorian? Because Mandalorian's fully fueled up now, but he's going to be slower than SGP.
Yeah, quite possibly. Mitch into the pits as well. Interestingly, Steve F1 had 0% of fuel as he was going into the pits, so he was running it very, very dry.
Steve F1 heading out of the pit lane now.
Oh, okay, so he's come out quite a way behind. Oh, side by side with Groover. Groover going all the way around the outside as his tyres are warmer. Steve F1 a little bit on the curb, but manages to just get ahead. So Steve F1, he needed to do that really, because SGP is now the car ahead of him, but he's going to have to be careful of Groover attacking him into the left-hander. Yeah,
because unfortunately for Steve F1, he's going to be thinking, if I have a moment of weakness and allow Groover in front, that could really compromise me. I need to get back into the zone and pull away now. As Steve F1, SGP, closing in on Mandalorian, who is running behind Demon R.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with the strategies here. You know, I mean, Steve F1. Oh, Dave the R ball out of shape on the grass, and he's going to lose the position potentially here to Mitch. But Mitch is going to have to be careful of Conrad. Dave's going to have to be careful of Conrad, slotting it up the inside.
Yeah, so all I've heard from the strategists up and down the pit lane is if you can get to lap 16, if you fully fueled from that point, you can get to the end without fuel saving. So that could be a potential thing to watch out for the drivers as SGP's putting Mandalorian under pressure.
Ooh, yeah, a little bit of contact between the two of them as Twilight heads into the pits and Demon R into the pits as well. So I think they were listening to you, James, because they should be able to get to the end of the race now. Groover also into the pits. So current situation is then that Tyler now leads the race. Mandalorian in second place, just ahead of SGP. Steve F1 lost a whole load of time through those pit stops, but now he's all over the rear bumper of SGP.
Yeah, and SGP is going to be absolutely foaming that he didn't get in front of Mandalorian on the final corner, because now that gap between him and himself, oh, here we go, he's up the inside, that's going to be, Mandalorian spots it, and Steve F1, can he make his way through as well?
Well, he's compromised on the exit, having to take a tighter line, giving Mandalorian a bit of room. He had the opportunity, but not to be on this occasion. Mandalorian fending him off. Look at that, SGP opening up a gap straight. Oh, Mandalorian sideways. That'll let Steve F1 attack him.
Yeah, but there you can see the difference in the fuel loads, especially on the run up the hill. SGP just absolutely pulled away massively, and that just shows you what a full tank of fuel is like compared to half a tank.
In the background, Mitch was straddling the curb there. Trust me, you don't want to straddle the curbs, not unless she's over the age of 18 anyway. Let's see, David Hart trying to close. Oh, Jimmy's going wide.
Yeah, I'm going to say don't tell Prince Andrew that. Anyway, here we go. We've got Jimmy in the background under attack from Bunsell as Twilight putting Fluffy under pressure in the final corner.
Well, Twilight has just pitted and he was not that far away from SGP earlier. So Mandalorian's in the pits again.
Right, and Conrad there. I just saw him glitching in the background, so that could be not great for him if he's starting to glitch. That could lead to a disconnection.
Yeah, he is. He's lagging about a bit, isn't he?
He's gone. He's out of the race.
That is absolutely devastating for Conrad Racing. But interestingly, Mandalorian has just come out of the pits right behind Demon R. So
Demon R up the inside of Jimmy straight away. Mandalorian has just pitted to top up his fuel tank and put fresh tyres on as Demon R straight away wanting to attack Bunsell into the chicane, but is he far enough ahead? No, he's not.
Bunsell fending him off quite nicely. Interestingly though, Demon R should be able to get to the end on the fuel when he pitted, so same as Twilight, and Twilight's ahead of Demon R. Mandalorian should now also be able to get to the end. He's just pitted, so Demon R and Mandalorian potentially battling side by side with Bunsell and side by side with Twilight. Tyler, race leader, into the pits. SGP, what is he going to do? Does he need to stop again? I do not know. I think he might,
Right, well, we know that Steve F1's really good with fuel saving. He probably will be tempted to try and ride this out and in a lower fuel mixture as Demon R still not past Bunsell, and that's put Mandalorian on his tail.
Yeah, so that'd be why the director cut away from that action then, as Mandalorian going to look at making the move up the inside of Demon R. Jimmy coming in as well, but nowhere for Jimmy to go. Looks like Mandalorian may have made the move.
Yes. Demon R's still there. He's still there, so this is side by side now, running uphill.
Yeah, so easily could end up in absolutely disaster here, just like the way I'm speaking today. And Tyler's come out of the pits right behind them, so if either of these have got a chance of winning the race, they've definitely got to battle each other for it.
Yeah, definitely. These three are really, really impressing me as Tyler's all over the back of Mandalorian now. Demon R going defensive in towards the chicane, and Jimmy's just sat there, and he's got the best view in the house.
Yeah, that he has. So SGP leads the race at the moment. Mandalorian still trying to attack Demon R as Bunsell trying to attack Twilight. Around the outside, Mandalorian's going to go. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? We've seen a few people make this move. We've also seen Demon R bin it down in this chicane once already. But Mandalorian always now got to fend off Tyler. This is great stuff. There's a lot of curve there.
Yeah, that's not great for the exit. He might look like he's trying to cut the corner, but it just ends in disaster on the exit. Oh, Demona sliding in the final corner, but manages to hold it. I thought he was going to slide off the circuit there, and but that put Bunsell off enough for him to make his way through, and now Tyler's the next victim.
Mitch has also just gone into the pits as well. I think he's on his way out of the pits now, so he's come out behind this battle. Ooh. Tyler alongside Mandalorian. You know what, I think Demonar got a little bit desperate there behind Bunsell with the overtake into the final corner. As Tyler and Mandalorian now side by side up the hill.
Yeah, Tyler backs out of it. He don't want to go side by side, and yeah, that's just put Jimmy on his tail. There's the dyslexia slipping in. Demonar up the inside of Twilight, but Twilight, he's seen that earlier from Gary, and he's not going to have it again. Oh, Demonar, you do not want to be on the exit curve because you just head into the scene of an accident if you do not lift off. Mandalorian up the inside of Bunsell, but this is going to be close through here because, yeah, you're going to have to really slow it down.
Oh, Bunsell, big sideways though. Oh.
Yeah, I'm watching out for Tyler because he's just going to capitalise on whichever way Mandalorian goes, he's going to go the opposite.
Yeah, that he is. Mandalorian then having a look up the inside of Bunsell. I think Bunsell knows his rear tyres were a little bit cooked there, as Mitch trying to battle with Groover in the background as well. Mitch can't afford to get held up too much, as Mandalorian still unfortunately hasn't got past Bunsell. Bunsell doing a cracking job at the moment of keeping these guys behind him.
Yeah, Bunsell's just got the grip when he needs it. Steve F1 into the pit lane, so he's not going for the fuel saving strategy. He's topping up the tank.
Yeah.
He's no tyres, just one lap of fuel going in there, and that's going to guarantee him getting to the end. Plus, he's getting out in front of everybody.
Yeah, that he is. SRI alongside Groover into the first corner. Mandalorian still behind Bunsell. Demonar ahead of Twilight now, but Twilight fighting back.
Right, side by side up the hill. We've seen it done before. Can these two make it through? I'm sure they can.
Yep, Demonar just manages to squeeze ahead, and Mandalorian, just to let you know, still behind Bunsell. Bunsell is being a right thorn in his side.
Look at the gap now Demonar's got over Mandalorian. It's two cars between them, plus probably about 3 seconds. Which the only thing is Mandalorian going to get desperate and go for moves that are not on?
It's possible. Mitch has managed to squeeze his way. Oh, this is the opportunity, Bunsell. Oh no, that's unlucky. Oh no, not a lot Mandalorian could really do there with Bunsell going
Tyler
up.
And Mitch is on his way through as well. So with that, yeah, he's just trying to make a move on Bunsell, and he's lost 2 positions to Tyler and Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch nearly running a little bit wide. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that during that as well, Mandalorian was perhaps thinking, oh, is that my fault? But it's difficult with those ones where a car in front of you loses it themselves, and then you're all Tyler. You've got to be so careful there. Mandalorian having a look up the inside of Mitch. Mitch spots it late, just about covers it off, but now he's gone deep.
Oh, that's going to be crucial. Can Mandalorian get him on the exit?
He's gone deep and gone wide.
Oh no, that's disaster. Yeah, just trying too hard to get on the throttle, and yeah, that's 3 places gone, and here comes Bunsell.
Yeah, so SRI through, Fluffy through, Bunsell trying to get through. Yeah, he is.
Bunsell's through, he's got the tight line. But yeah, no, Mitch, that's cost him big time.
As David Harp now on the back of him as well. So current situation is SGP leads ahead of Steve F1, ahead of Demonar in 3rd place. How, I don't know, but we've got a cracking battle going on here. This way, just hope that everybody keeps their cool a little bit. Oh, a little bit of contact between SRI and Bunsell, and that's allowed.
Ray got a nudge from Mitch, which then impacted into Bunsell, and Davey Harp on the grass there, which slightly tapped into Mitch. So this is all kicking off now. They need to keep under control as Groover's getting in there, and yeah, I'm sure Davey Harp's not. I think he's probably getting his brain completely turned into mashed potato here with all the permutations constantly happening.
Mitch trying to managed to keep the tight line. I think Bunsell's just run wide on his own. SRI and Mitch side by side. Davey Hart right behind him. This could get messy.
Yeah, Bunsell really.
Mitch is sideways. SRI is off.
Oh no, this is all kicking off. I think Bunsell definitely needs to get some new tyres on his car as Mitch. I think he's feeling he's responsible for something because he's pulled over.
Yeah, I did see that Mitch was big time sideways there. I didn't see what caused it. I don't know whether it was just himself or we've still got a car, letting cars come through. I mean, we said it early on, that chicane is going to cause incidents, and it definitely is. Okay, SGP leading the way, Steve F1 in 2nd, Demonar 3rd, Tyler chasing down Twilight for 4th place at the moment. It would be so cruel from Tyler to steal it off Twilight, but Tyler has been flying today.
Yeah, as well. They've still got a decent gap to Mandalorian in 6th place, so Tyler's up the inside of Twilight, and that's crucial. But Twilight, once again, absolutely saying no way through Sunshine.
Yeah, that is. Oh, Fluffy in the background, he's off!
No,
that's going to be costly.
Yeah, he's going to be costly, and Fluffy's been doing so well.
Tyler's good for the move.
Oh, this is going to be absolutely fantastic, but it's slowing them both down, and they see Mandalorian taking advantage straight away.
Yeah, that's painful for Twilight, that is. I mean, it was a good move from Tyler. Unfortunately, he just slowed Twilight down enough that, yeah, Mandalorian was able to slip through as well. And you know what, I reckon it's a little bit windy out there as well. Slipping through and a little bit windy. Reminds me, Andy, I've got a story to tell you as SGP heads into the pits. Would you believe, right, last night, my next door neighbour popped round, right, wanting to stay over for the night.
Yeah.
Well, basically...
You should have said it's coronavirus, get out of here.
Well, I did, and I asked him, I says, why don't you just stay at yours? He goes, well, the wife and kids have kicked me out. I was like, why? He said, well, they're really upset with me, right, because I put ginger in the curry that he made.
SGP coming out of the pit lane, sorry, Mandalorian tried it round the outside of Tyler, and I think that put Tyler off as SGP just came out right in front of him, so this is crucial now for P6 side by side with Tyler, and yeah, Mandalorian just gets in front of Tyler, but that all stemmed from SGP just coming out of the pit lane right in front of them, so apologies for cutting off.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Let me finish my bloody story. Right, so he says, yeah, they're really upset with him that he put ginger in their curry, so they kicked him out. I couldn't help but say, well, they did love that cat.
Oh no. I thought you were going to say something to do with Jerry Halliwell or something.
No.
Ginger Spice.
It was a bad joke, I know.
I was waiting for Christian Horner to make his way into that joke. Yeah.
It's better when it's not interrupted by SGP coming out of the pit lane as Dave the Harper's trying to now make Twilight's pain even more painful. Yeah,
indeed. So yeah, I mean, it's can all these guys get to the end? There's a lot of guys who've pitted late on, and they're a fair way back. You'll just see him in the background. There's Fluffy. I don't know if he's pitted again. He was off onto the grass, but look at that gap now that Steve F1's got to Demon R, and SGP's only just pitted, and I don't think it was for tyres. I think it was just to top up that fuel tank. So
I think you could be right. Interesting. I mean, Demon R somehow has managed to work his way up into 2nd place, and we've not really seen him much in this race apart from the big crashing.
Well, that's it. I mean, after the first few laps, you would have not been saying Demon R's going to be in 2nd place with only 6.5 minutes to go. So right now he's looking in a dead certain decent position as we've got SGP in P3 hunting him down, and then the rest of the pack. So the one thing that's crucial here is
Mitch on Dave the Arp. Mitch making the move on Dave the Arp. He's going to have the inside line towards the chicanes. Actually, he's ahead of him already. Nice move from Mitch.
Yeah, that was a nice move, and it's all about getting it slowed down for the chicane, and Twilight's gone in a bit deep there. This could be another position for Mitch.
That it could. He's going to try going all the way around the outside. I think Mitch's tyres may be fresher than Twilight's as well, which could help him on the exit of the corner. Yeah, he's ahead. This is great stuff from Mitch at the moment.
Yeah, I think in a way, if he can get himself back up near the sharp end of the points, that'll be really, really good for Mitch's morale, because he's been a bit foaming recently with starting off well and then ending the race near the bottom. So yeah, Fluffy once again, as you say, attached to Davey Arp with some wire or something, but they just love each other at the moment. And here comes Groove. Groove is going to try and make this 3 wide, but that's going to make it very tight.
Yeah, manages to back out a bit. Dave the Arp goes in a little bit deep though, and that allows Groover through now. That'll be frustrating for Dave, and is that formerly Gary slipping through as well, trying to side by side. They go up the hill. Ooh, and they both get on a little bit of curb each, but Dave the Harp manages to stay ahead. You know what, SGP, you mentioned it, that he was hunting down Demon R and he's closing in on him rapidly.
Yeah, so is this Demon R saving fuel, or is this Demon R just running out of tyres?
Maybe it's just SGP on better form in today's race. I mean, Steve F1 Steve F1 and SGP, even if they finish ahead of him, they're not going to pull in massive amounts of points on him. But yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen. What all 3 of the the current championship leaders have to be careful of is this battle here.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, Tyler and Mitch, because if these guys don't fight too hard, they'll catch up.
Yeah, indeed. And plus, I think the problem is they're all fairly similar on pace. Oh yeah, up the inside. No, he's backed out a bit early. Gary's gone in deep. Oh, he's gone in deep and he's slapped into the side of Bunsell there in the final corner. I think he'll have to give that position back because that were a push to pass there.
You know what? I think Dave Yop just scared Fluffy a little bit there as we're now 3 wide heading in towards turn 1. Oh, I think Bunsel's just tagged the back of Fluffy, unless there was a car on the left of Fluffy there. It got a little bit messy and hard to see.
I think it's very enticing if you see a gap up the inside in towards turn 1, but when there's 2 cars already there, you've got to guarantee you're not going to run wide at the apex. Otherwise, it's going to end in carnage as SGP's really, really closed in on Demon Hour, as you say. And we look at them lap times: 24.6 on the last lap, 24.1, 24.7, 24.7,
36.7. Dude, they're not good lap times. Oh, actually, they're SGP.
That was a pit.
That's his pit stop.
That was a pit, so that's the pit stop. The rest of them have been in the 24s, so he's really been consistent, and that's what has closed him into the back of Demon Art. And as you say, the other 3 are not far behind these guys. So Demon Art, if he's gonna,
he's wide. He's wide. He's off on the grass. That's certainly going to end badly.
He needs to lift off because otherwise you're going to slide wide.
Was that light? How the hell is he still going? He's sideways now on the exit of turn final corner.
The tyres have really lost out, but this is the crucial thing. He's lost that position, and if the tyres were going, he needs to just try and refocus and keep it consistent now, because the other guys are still not that far behind him, which is the battle of Mandalorian P4, Tyler P5, and Mitch in P6.
Yeah, looking at it, Demon's tyres are on the wall. This could get messy. Dave the Arp and Fluffy side by side up the hill. A little bit of bumping and grinding. A little bit of switching and swapping.
Yeah, it's all about making sure that when you're on the racing line, you stay on the racing line, and when you're off the racing line, you leave a car's width.
Bunsell
through them wiggly bits. Bunsell pushing Jimmy off onto the grass there, and Gary also getting in on this right at the back. Bunsell, I think, having a little look there at Davey Arp and sliding wide. I think some of these guys probably need to look at that timer and realise if they make a cock up here, it's going to cost them big time in penalty points.
Yeah, definitely. Interestingly, Demon Art is now under pressure from Mandalorian, Tyler and Mitch with only, a minute 20 to go. So they're going to be starting the last lap.
Mitch going for it in the final corner on the, is this the penultimate lap or the last lap, sorry?
They are now starting the final lap of the race.
Right, okay, so that was crucial there for Mitch, getting in front of Tyler. And can he attack Mandalorian as SGP runs through? Demon R really closed. He's fallen back into the clutches of Mandalorian. And Mitch, can he get back on the podium? Mitch, this would be an epic effort if he can get past 2 cars on the last lap.
It would be. You know what, SGP is closing in on Steve F1 a little bit, but Steve F1 got a decent lead. Mandalorian's all over the back of Demon R now. Demon R going defensive, and he has to if he wants to hold on to that 3rd place. Hugging the inside line, but Mandalorian may be able to go for the switchback with a little touch on the curb though. Got to be careful. Mitch is wide. No.
Tyler will definitely have that position as Demon R goes defensive into the chicane.
And Tyler hasn't got that position. Mitch has managed to hold on. Demon R a little bit sideways. Mitch now coming under pressure from Tyler.
Demon R got a really good exit there though, and that might have just let him off the leash, as I think Tyler he's trying to have a look, and Mitch is like, no, you're not having it, but this is all kicking off. It's really close back in now between Mandalorian and Demon R, as I think the leaders heading towards the final corner right now.
Demon R side a little bit sideways there, and he's on the grass again. Get off there, you muppet. SGP's closed in on Steve F1, but Mandalorian going round the outside of Demon R. Can he make it? Yes, he can. Demon R's going sideways. Steve F1 though, he's going to win the race. SGP's going to finish 2nd, and then Mandalorian's got through for 3rd.
Mitch side by side with Demon R over the line. Who's going to have it? Demon R's got it. He's got it just by the slimmest of margins. Demon R manages to hold on at P4 as I think Rich and Gary side by side as well in the background. Steve F1 absolutely dominated here today, and SRI over the line.
What a race!
Mental, absolutely mental. Yeah, I don't. God,
that was almost as mental, as when I went to Starbucks last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went in there and woman
served. You should be. I told you should be self-isolating.
I know.
Stop going to Starbucks.
I couldn't help it. I went in there, right, and woman's there, and I said, "What are you doing wearing a surgical mask?" She goes, "No, it's a coffee filter."
Did she throw your change at her?
No, I could have done. Right, okay, yeah, what a race. Bonkers.
One little thing there, you mentioned Starbucks. What I always tend to do is I go in with Vicky, my girlfriend, and when they say, "What's your name?" I have to give them the most fucking mental name they've ever heard. So I'll be like, I'm Fernando.
You think that's bad? Right. SGP, being my brother, lent me a bit of money recently. Bank transfer. Yeah. Do you know what he titled it? Pornhub VIP.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Cheers.
That's going to be a classic one on the phone to the bank.
Yeah.
Can I? This transfer that happened. Yeah, it was not what he says it is.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I paid the money back by a bank transfer.
Yes. And what was that?
Nothing. I didn't do anything.
No.
Because it had been too obvious. Wouldn't it? It would have been. He would have been expecting that.
What this means is it's going to be brewing.
Yep.
And then it's going to be even worse. It's going to be worse than a little tagline on your bank account. But
exactly.
Yeah, Steve F1 absolutely on it today. I think there were a moment earlier on in the race where he had such a lead. I was thinking to myself he could pit and come out in front of the pack and still start pulling that gap. But yeah, he were absolutely flawless. Demon R had a scruffy start to the race, a good recovery halfway through,
and then a scruffy end.
I think it just a scruffy end, but I don't think it was of his own doing. I think it was just the tyres were past the best, and he were demanding stuff of them tyres, which they were not able to do. So
the interesting
fourth place finish was actually a godsend in the end, though, because that could have easily, if he'd have binned it big time at the final corner, he could have come over the line in last place.
Yeah, and the thing is, Steve F1, SGP, Mandalorian all finish ahead of Demon R, and all three of them have now closed in on him in the championship standings. As we know, Steve F1 and Mandalorian were joint on points, so Steve F1's going to have opened that gap up a little bit, but they've all gained on Demon R, and that's important for the championship. It definitely is. Just a reminder as well, we will show the drivers post-race comments. I mean, something that while we're actually showing those, James, just quickly mention as well that obviously this championship was dubbed early on as this is a championship that is going to be a test of whether faster cars are going to be doable yet. I don't know what the answer to that question is as regards the admins, but is there any advice that you'd give to the drivers to try and see how things go in the last couple of races?
I just mentioned in, I think it were probably the previous race commentary, about how wide these cars are. Now, I think even though these cars are very, very quick and very, very grippy in high-speed corners, they are very tricky in the slow-speed corners. And I think a lot of drivers, well, not a lot of drivers, but I'd probably say about half the field are probably in the slower corners, pushing the car beyond what it can actually deliver in terms of grip, which then leads to the tyres overheating, and then that in turn results in just slightly sliding when you feel like, hang on, I'm quicker than this other driver, why are they catching me so much? And I think without the drivers being able to look at them tyre temperatures as a visual aid,
digital number.
Yeah, a digital number. I think a lot of the drivers in the midfield and backwards are a bit stumped with this car, And I've heard a couple of drivers over the radio saying, I hate this car. Now, I don't think they hate the car. I think they hate what the car ends up doing. I think one of the drivers said, I have no clue what this car's going to do
from one lap
to the next. Now, that to me strikes of tyre temperature.
Yeah.
Because if you, after, let's say you do maybe 3 laps on the bounce, where you don't slide the tyres as much, and through I think it's mainly slow speed corners where you would expect the high speed corners, like in this circuit, the downhill long left-hander, you would expect naturally the front right tyre to be absolutely crying by the time you get to the end of that. But I personally believe that because this car is designed for fast corners, that it's not the fast corners where the tyres are getting utterly punished. I believe the tyres are getting utterly punished in the slow speed when drivers are overdriving and wiggling the wheel to try and get the front end turned in, revving the engine to try and pivot the car. I believe in the slow speed corners, that is where the tyre temperatures are raising beyond their optimal, and then that's when drivers are finding, when they go through a corner and then plant the foot on the throttle, that it's leading to, hang on, that's not doing what it was doing on the previous lap. And I'm not feeling comfortable. So I think this may be showing that the drivers are not 100% on top of tyre temperatures. It's quite clear to me drivers like Steve F1 and SGP have got it nailed in terms of what the car can do and what's over the limit of what the car can do. So I think even there, I think it probably were mainly down to wear, but Demon R had a couple of excursions, and that could possibly have been down to lack of concentration and slight pushing the car beyond what it's actually capable of doing. But it might also be just the tyres were over their peak in terms of what grip they delivered.
The interesting thing with that though is what happened on the exit of the final corner after 2 of those excursions. The same thing happened. Sort of went over on the grass, didn't spin it on the grass, but went off on the grass in the after the chicane, got back on the track, slowed down for the corner, round the final corner, but then as he went to press the throttle, the rear end couldn't grip because
it's full of grass.
Because it's full of dirt and grass, and not necessarily overheated, but may have been because of the amount of braking. So it is something that definitely is a factor with this car, and will also be a factor with other cars. It's one that if you've got a car where you're sliding the rear end all of the time, then you're always going to be overheating that rear end of the car. Now some cars and some tyres will lap that up all day long. This isn't one of them. This is a car where if you look after it, it'll do everything you want it to do. If you don't look after it, then it will surprise you.
Also, with the car being so wide, this were another point I was trying to make, but I got off topic on the tyres. I think a lot of drivers need to be mindful of giving that touch more room. Just compared to, let's say, previous car that we used, which was the Mazda. The width of that car, we always say, when running through a corner, you need to leave a car's width if there's a car there. Now with this car, I would probably say leave a car's width plus a metre, because this car is so wide that unless you take the camera and put it side by side with a Mazda, you'd be like, bloody hell, it's another metre wider. It's the full rear tyre wider than the Mazda. Now when cars are running through, let's say for example, we had turn 1 at this circuit, which was the long left-hander, and then straight after that we had the windy left right uphill section. Now we saw there a couple of times with a few drivers knowing what they had to do, and I mentioned it in commentary, when you're the car on the racing line, you need to stick on that racing line. However, when you get to the next kink, you're going to be off the racing line and you need to leave a car's width, and I personally would say a car's width plus a metre. It will result in you being slower, however you will guarantee no contact with the car at the side of you, provided the car at the side of you is doing exactly the same. It all comes down to coordination and respect. And sometimes we can see drivers nearer the tail end of the field going through that section, keeping their foot planted, and then when you run through them sections, you might try and leave a bit of space for that driver, but then what's not took into account is the next corner, which would then result in the car, well, you've kept your foot flat in order to try and keep the position, but you've compromised your next corner, might spit you over a curb and spat into the next corner. So I think it's all about realising the difference between, if you want to run side by side through a set of fast corners in this car, it is doable, but you need to know it's going to be slower. And this is one trick that I've learned myself, is it's faster sometimes to stay behind. And I'm not saying this in order to say let's kill off racing, but in certain corners it's faster to stay behind than actually go for it. As we saw I think there were a moment with, I think it was Tyler and Twilight, they decided at this moment we're going to go side by side, as after the downhill section, there's that little triple chicane, and the drivers decided, well, not of their own accord, but one car was thinking, I'm faster at this point, I'm going for it, and the other car was thinking, I need to defend this but leave space. Now both of them acted absolutely the way you should do, giving space to each other, and they both made it through the corner. But the unfortunate reality is it is slower. So I would personally suggest to all drivers, if you are attempting an overtake, make sure you are attempting an overtake in the fastest way possible, and that's not by absolutely caning it into a corner and sliding wide. Sometimes the fastest way into the corner is into a hairpin, where you can make the move on the brakes, not run wide, and get the move done. Some of the fastest ways to make an overtake on this particular circuit were the hairpin up the hill, when you'd gone through the squiggly bit in the middle sector, and then as they're heading towards the final sector, there were a left-handed hairpin up the inside into there. Sometimes you could run it round the outside and defend it by running round the outside, and that's all well and good. But if you could complete the move in the inside of that hairpin, it was the fastest way to get past somebody without losing lap time. And I think that's something that a lot of drivers in the tail end of the field need to start considering more, is getting past without losing the most amount of lap time. And that's pretty much my rant over.
Yeah, not a lot to say on that then, really, is there? Wake me up when the story ends. Yeah. But no,
also, I mean, another little thing. I did spot, I think at one moment there were three wide heading into turn one. Now, watching that, very exciting, because you know something's going to kick off. However, if you decide I'm going to go up the inside in towards turn one, you need to realise you're going to be probably the slowest person running round that corner.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got to slow the car down and have your left front tyre running along the apex of that corner all the way around it. Because by you going up the inside at the last minute, you're putting the other two drivers in a predicament of, if I turn in here for this apex, there's going to be a crash. So their brains very quickly are going, I've got to turn in, but I've got to leave the car's width. Now, if they do that and the car going for it up the inside has not slowed down enough, that could result in not only impacting one driver's race, it could involve impacting two drivers' races.
Yep.
So it is imperative that a car going for an overtake up the inside when there's already two cars going side by side in towards a very fast corner, you need to know that it's not only one person's race that you might finish two. So there's even more responsibility on you to get the car slowed down and get it turned in, because unfortunately I think we saw a couple of times there, drivers going, I can go up the inside here, they've left the door wide open, I'll go for it. They've gone for it, they've gone in too fast, they've run wide, hit the car in the middle, the guy in the middle's going, I can't do anything now, I'm a passenger, hits the guy on the outside, he's now going, I can't do anything now, I'm a passenger, and all three go flying. And I think it's the being able to calculate risk of what's on, what's not on, and the best way to defend and attack without creating a situation where you're putting other people's races at risk. Plus, these cars are so wide, when you go three wide into turn one. No, but some drivers will.
I'm joking.
I'm expecting half the drivers to have gone, fuck this, turn it off. But the other half that really need to learn this, they need to learn this. It's the mechanics of what's on, what's not on, what situation is your fault, which is not your fault. And I think there were certain situations there, for example, running down the hill, Bunsell were defending from Mandalorian. He then ran over the first chicane, but then as he came back onto the circuit, Mandalorian hit him up the back end because it came back on the circuit right in front of him. But Mandalorian he was in no way at fault because he had
nowhere to go.
It was nothing of his control, and it was nothing. It wasn't like in the end, the result was Mandalorian punted Bunsell in the rear end, and Bunsell went flying into the wall. But the catalyst to that was nothing of Mandalorian's construction.
The thing is that I will jump in there as well. Things happen in these cars very quickly. I know I have gone across that chicane, and once you're on the grass, there's
nothing you can do there.
You are not in control of where you're going next, and it's the same when you get on the curb. Sometimes you're not in control of where the car may go next. So it's one of those where it's like, okay, I wouldn't call it an unsafe return to track, although it can look like that. It
reminded me very much of Sebastian Vettel at Canada.
He's having an accident still.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He is. In this one, he was still having an accident. And unfortunately, he ended up right in front of another car that's hit him. Yeah, that. Obviously, there is a big difference between that and someone doing an unsafe return to track. Like I say, things happen very, very quickly in these cars, and I think sometimes it's difficult for people to perhaps understand that perhaps the best thing to do is in fast cars is to slow yourself down, because if you react quickly on the pedals, on the steering, it's the wrong way to go about it. The car will be quick for you, but you don't have to be quick for the car.
Yeah, and as well, we sometimes we normally look at Mandalorian and go, oh, he's been a bit rash there, he's gone for the overtake, when really maybe it's not been on, or it's a risky overtake, it's on the limit of what's acceptable. But there were a moment in that race where I think for 3 or 4 laps he sat behind Bunsell, he put him under pressure, but at no point, if he'd have gone for an overtake, like I said earlier, if he'd have gone for an overtake, it would have resulted in him losing time.
Yeah.
So therefore, for 3 laps, even though he was losing technically a second per lap because he sat behind Bunsell, it was quicker
than having
a crash. Going for a move, it going wrong, and getting tangled up, and it not actually working out. So even though you may technically in your brain go, I'm quicker than this driver, technically sometimes you're better off not putting yourself in the position where it's going to create a situation where you're both slow.
It's one of those situations where, I mean, I can fully understand why people could be behind another driver and think, I'm faster than this guy, I'm coming past. But at the same time, it doesn't matter who's in which car. When you are the driver behind, you do have to simply be aware that doesn't matter how fast you are. If you're behind them and they're driving fairly, then you've got to do the same. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I mentioned on the commentary about Demon R, I think he got a bit desperate, and I think he did. But in that situation, Bunsell was, because it was on Bunsell was aware enough that Demon R had chucked it up the inside to give him the room. But it's one of those where Bunsell would have been within his rights to go for the corner, and had he done and there'd been a crash, it wouldn't have been Bunsell's fault. But that's what you're saying. Demon R went for a move, didn't quite get it right, but he was lucky that Bunsell didn't turn in, because if he did, it'd have been a big smash. And it's one of those situations as well where, I mean, I do know that with the boost as well, sometimes, I mean, in all forms of racing, if you get two cars side by side, we know they go slower than if you're not side by side. So if you're behind, you'll catch up quicker. You add a little bit of boost in there as well, and you can catch up so fast that it can make you instantly think, wow, I'm so much faster than these guys, I'm coming past them.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not on.
But it's not the reality, because your brain goes, I'm coming past them. But if you get to the corner and you're side by side, you've got to leave a car's width. You can't take the corner as though there's nobody else there, and that's where it creates a situation of you need to go take this corner probably 30 mile an hour slower than what you would do if there were nobody there. And that's where the time loss is. So that's what I'm saying is, with this car, the best thing to do is wait for a big braking zone like a hairpin. Because even turn one at this circuit, not a very big braking zone. It's not even a brake, it's like a dab. That's it. So the run up towards turn one was so risky for an actual overtake. I think the best thing really is, can you get the overtake done into a braking zone that's a fairly decent sized braking zone? That's where you will find people like Tyler were making us go, wow, look how efficiently he's made his way through the pack. Because every single time it were either picking somebody off after they'd made a mistake, or it was under braking into a hard braking zone that he made the overtakes, and therefore he didn't lose much time. And that's what's impressed me about Tyler in terms of his driving. It's really stuck out for me that he's realised this car works the best, and this is where you get the most lap time, is where you make the move on the brakes into a heavy braking zone. Because even every other corner, if you're heading into like a triple chicane, even if it's a heavy braking zone, for example, the downhill, where you go downhill into the triple chicane, that's a big-ish braking zone, but it's not a massive braking zone. It's a big-ish one, but because of the sequence of corners that then follow it, creates a situation where if you've not made the overtake before that sequence of corners, you're losing time. So yeah, I know that we're probably blagging your head if you're still watching this, and if you have, you'll receive a £5 from me in the post. But it's just little bits of tips and little bits of advice from two people that clearly can see that a few drivers need this drummed into them, because, like I say, we've seen plenty of times in the past Mandalorian making silly mistakes. And
everyone makes mistakes. Simple. Everybody makes mistakes. Learning from them and trying to not make them again is the key.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's not always easy to do that. I mean, what I will say is, I mean, for the most part throughout this championship, I think.
Yeah, I think you said after the last race, it was some of the cleanest racing seen.
Yeah, it has been. There has been some good bits. There's been some messy bits, and I mean, in racing, you're
never going to get a situation where everybody is polite and completely
and happy.
There's no contact. There will always be something that happens. That's inevitable.
And let's be honest, racing would be boring without the odd crash.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here going, I want racing where nobody overtakes each other, because there's no point in me sat here if that's the mentality.
Exactly.
But it's the controlled aggression is what I like to see, and Tyler is standing out for me. He's not won a race yet in this car, but he's standing out for me as I think he's the potentialist for the future of the league.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the next car. But yeah, I mean, I do know going into this race, there was a few people that were saying that the likes of Tyler, Mitch could easily get their first wins at this race. And I mean, to be fair, what's the next track? The next track is Catalonia. Yeah. Now that's an interesting one because that is an absolutely fantastic racetrack, but these cars are going to absolutely hate the final chicane because of the sausage curbs.
They're going to hate the final chicane, and there's only 2 big braking zones on that circuit. And I'm not saying to the drivers only overtake at them 2 specific points, but what I would say is, the rest of the circuit, you're really going to have to wait for a mistake from the driver in front.
Yeah, you're going to have to make sure that you're in control and that the other person's making an error, and that's how you're getting through. Because I mean, given the nature of that track, people will make errors, especially with this car. But I mean, for me, Catalonia is one of those tracks. I absolutely love that track. Apart from the final chicane, some cars can handle the final chicane. I can't say I've driven this car around there yet, but let's put it this way: if you ain't straddling, you ain't surviving. If you're not straddling the sausage curbs, you're either A, going to be slow, or B, going to be spinning.
Well, it really comes down to how these cars handle straddling.
Well, yeah, that's true. I've not tried that either.
If they can't handle the straddling of the final 2 chicanes, you could find everybody really braking a lot into that final section and really slowing down and creating a bit of a bunch up. But all I've got to say is just to re-emphasise for the drivers who are struggling or potentially going, whenever I get in the pack, I can't seem to be able to break out of it. I'm stuck in it. For them people, I would say, just as long as you're looking after yourself and driving in a way that you would like another driver to be driving, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
All you can do is focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And if there's other people out there that you're feeling like, they're pushing the limit here, wait until after the race, watch it back, and then put a report in. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. Oh, that's all you're going to say. 20 minutes that's taken. 20 minutes.
Finally, well done, Steve F1.
Oh yeah. Was there a race?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
There was.
Yeah. Well
about
done.
Half an hour ago.
Yeah. Well done, Steve F1. But yeah, I mean, Catalonia. I mean, you know what? There's not many places where I say this is not an overtaking point. Normally, I would say at every corner you can go side by side, but it's just a differentiate. It's a difference of speed. So you can go side by side around Monaco, but you're going to be slow doing it. But I would say Catalonia is one of those where that final chicane, that ain't an overtaking place. Especially not in cars that are as big as these are.
Yeah,
it's
if we had
not an overtaking
smaller
place.
Cars, potentially the Mazdas,
Yeah.
you could have found cars fighting into the final chicane.
Yeah.
With these cars, you find 2 cars fighting in that final chicane.
Someone's
they're both
facing
going
the wrong
off.
way. Well,
they're
yeah.
both going off.
It won't. That is definitely one of those that I would highly recommend it. Recommend it. Highly recommend against it. But yeah, it'd be almost as bad as the jokes from today. But anyway, I feel sorry for Ginger the cat. Right. I think it's time to have a look at the confirmed race results and the championship standings after that race has only gone and spun things around a bit. So here we go then. Confirmed race result for race 6 from the Yamagiwa circuit, or layout of the Kyoto driving park circuit. Steve F1 taking the victory and a maximum 20 points ahead of SGP in second place on 17 points. Mandalorian sneaking through on that final corner to take third and 15 points. Demon R held on for fourth and it's just 13 points for him. Mitch fought hard all the way to the end. It was 5th place for him and 11 points scored. Tyler takes 6th, that's 10 points, and then we've got Fluffy Planet ahead of Bunsel, just ahead of Groover, and just ahead of Jimmy to round out the top 10. Twilight finished in 11th place with Dave the Harp in 12th and Rich Blues in 13th. Formula Gary in 14th, and unfortunately he does have a -5 penalty point taken off his score. For information about that, you can check out the DGT League Facebook page. Information is on there about a few incidents that were reported. SRI finished in 15th, scoring the final point, and unluckily Conrad was having a good race and unfortunately disconnected, so it's a DNF for him, so no points scored. A bit of a disaster there for Conrad, but hopefully actions taken from the admins to try and help Connor to improve his connection have been made, and hopefully next time we see him on track he'll stay on track. We can but hope. Okay, let's see what that's done to the championship standings then. Demon R still leading the way on 95 points, and 9 behind him is SGP in second place. He's got a 3-point gap now to Steve F1, who has a 5-point gap to Mandalorian in 4th place. He has an 8-point gap to Tyler in 5th, who has a 10-point gap to David Harp in 6th, and he has a 10-point gap to Mitch in 7th. Jason, who was unable to race today, is in 8th place. He's dropped down to 8th place on 49 points, and Fluffy Planet is only 7 behind him. Twilight rounds out the top 10 on 36 points, and he's 3 ahead of Bunsel in 11th, who's 10 ahead of Rich Blues in 12th. Jimmy is just ahead of Groover for 13th and 14th, and they are just in front of Formula Gary and SRI. Conrad still holding everybody up. Well, not holding everybody up, propping up the drivers, unfortunately with his bad connection, which hopefully will be solved for the next race. Talking about the next race, as Mandalorian has, or I was going to say James has already post race, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, fantastic racetrack. The final sector is going to be oh so tricky, but it could be an extremely close one there. To check out all of the action, make sure you join us again next week at Dynamic GT League. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon.